I have no name. For 3 full years, the only title I have carried is the family warning tool, the useless disabled child, the fool who is disciplined for her sister's sake. My original name was Lin Shu, a clean, gentle, and promising name that once belonged to a top student who ranked first in every exam, a well-behaved child who never skipped class, never talked back, never made a single mistake. Now, I am nothing but a broken body with deformed fingers, chronic hormone disorder, sequelae of violent beating, and a heart completely dead to family affection. Today is the day my elder sister Lin Man is admitted to the nation's top prestigious university. The entire Lin family is immersed in unprecedented joy and glory. Relatives gather at home, laughing and celebrating, praising Lin Man for being talented, promising, and the pride of the whole family. No one mentions me. No one remembers that 3 years ago, the person who ranked first in the city's senior high school entrance examination was me. No one remembers that the person who never skipped a single class, never fell in love early, never caused any trouble to the family was me. 3 years ago, my elder sister Lin Man completely ruined her life in advance. She skipped school all day long, fell in puppy love with social teenagers, fought with classmates, stayed out all night, and her grades plummeted to the bottom of the grade. She was a complete problem student that teachers gave up on. Fearing that Lin Man's wild and unruly temperament would ruin her future college admission and bright future, my biased parents made the most cruel and absurd decision in the world. They did not send the wayward, truant, puppy-loving sister to the correction center. They sent me, the obedient, excellent, well-behaved me, to the most brutal, unregulated, closed correction center in the city. Their reason was cold and disgusting. Send the good child in to be disciplined, let the bad child watch and fear, kill the chicken to scare the monkey. I was the chicken they chose to slaughter for their precious daughter's future. On that rainy night 3 years ago, I knelt on the ground and begged my parents, crying until I lost my voice. I told them I had done nothing wrong. I begged them not to send me away. I promised to study harder and supervise my sister well. But my parents' eyes were cold and heartless, without a trace of maternal or paternal love. My mother held my sister's hand and comforted her gently, while kicking my kneeling body away fiercely. Lin Shu, you are the younger sister, so you deserve to sacrifice for your elder sister. If you don't go in and suffer, Man will not be obedient. This is your responsibility as a family member. My father's face was stern and ruthless. A good child has strong endurance. Staying inside for a few years is nothing. IT can warn your sister and make her reform. This is the only value you have to this family. My elder sister Lin Man stood aside, her eyes full of disdain and complacency. She knew clearly that my suffering was the bargaining chip for her freedom and future. So the innocent, excellent me was pushed into the hell on earth known as the correction center. The 3 years that followed were purgatory beyond human imagination. Because I was sent in as a warning example designated by my family, the instructors received explicit instructions from my parents. Discipline her severely, no mercy. Let her suffer enough pain so that the elder sister outside can be deterred. I suffered endless brutal beatings every day. I was beaten with iron rulers on the palms, whipped with leather belts on the back, and kicked down to the cold concrete floor repeatedly, for no reason. My 10 fingers were deformed by repeated beatings, and I could no longer hold a pen steadily. They forced unknown high-dose hormone drugs into my mouth every day. The drugs messed up all my physical functions, made me suffer from perennial dizziness, nausea, muscle atrophy, and irreversible chronic organ damage. I was locked in a dark and damp solitary confinement cell for months on end, with no sunlight, no communication, no human contact. I was hungry and cold every day, insulted and trampled at will. Every time my sister wanted to be willful and skip school, every time she wanted to fall in love and rebel, my parents would call the correction center and instruct the instructors to increase my punishment. My pain became the break for my sister's misbehavior. My torture became the warning sign for her to behave. My ruined life became the stepping stone for her bright future. In 3 years, I endured thousands of beatings, countless forced hormone injections, and endless mental torture. I forgot how to laugh, forgot how to speak, and even gradually forgot my original name Lin Shu. The only thing that accompanied me was the humiliating nickname given by the instructors and my family, the sacrificial lamb. Today, Lin Man got the admission letter from the top university, glorious and dazzling, becoming the pride of the Lin family. They finally remembered me, the useless disabled lamb they had locked in purgatory for 3 years. They came to pick me home in high spirits, wearing bright smiles, preparing to let me stand in the corner silently and witness my sister's glory, and continue to be the most humble foil for her life. When the iron gate of the correction center opened, the sunlight pierced my dark adopted eyes sharply. I dragged my deformed, thin, disabled body, with pale skin and sunken eyes, and walked out of the hell I had stayed in for 3 years. My parents looked at my broken appearance, not a trace of heartache or guilt, only disgust and impatience. My mother frowned and said coldly, "Look at your ugly appearance now. Your whole body is disabled. You can't study. You can't work. You are a complete waste. Fortunately, your sister is promising, otherwise our family would be ruined by you." My father snorted. "These 3 years of suffering are worth it. At least Man has changed for the better and was admitted to a good university. Your sacrifice is meaningful." Lin Man stood beside them, glamorous and bright, holding the red admission letter, looking down at me like looking at a dirty beggar. Thank you for suffering for me these 3 years, sister. If you hadn't been sent to suffer, I wouldn't have studied hard and got into a good school. You should be proud of yourself. Proud? I sacrificed my entire youth, my healthy body, my brilliant future, my all glory and hope, suffered 3 years of inhuman torture, and was reduced to a disabled waste, just to make her proud? Endless hatred and despair surged from the bottom of my broken heart, burning every inch of my remaining soul. I looked at this cold-blooded, distorted, vicious family, and every scar on my body was screaming and roaring. I have been obedient, excellent, filial, and sensible all my life, but I have suffered the most cruel injustice in the world. She has been rebellious, wayward, wrongdoings constantly, but she has enjoyed all the love, glory, and happiness of the family. This family does not deserve my slightest tolerance and nostalgia. If I can be reborn, I will let all of you taste the purgatory torture I have endured 3 times over. I will completely crush the bright future you have snatched with my blood and tears. I will burn this biased and vicious family to ashes, and let everyone who hurt me fall into eternal doom. Extreme hatred swept my consciousness, and my frail and disabled body completely lost its last vitality. The moment my eyes were about to close forever, a dazzling golden light exploded in my mind. When I opened my eyes again, the cold and dark purgatory of the correction center disappeared completely. What greeted me was the warm summer night wind, the familiar desk in my bedroom, and the youthful and healthy hands that were intact and flexible, without any deformation or scars. I am reborn. I am reborn on the night before my parents decide to send me to the correction center. It is exactly 3 years before the endless purgatory. At this moment, my sister Lynn Mann has just skipped school again, stayed out for 3 days, and was found by the teacher wandering in the street with her puppy love boyfriend. Her grades have fallen to the bottom, and the school has issued a final warning. My parents are extremely angry, but they are reluctant to beat or scold their precious eldest daughter, let alone send her to suffer. They are brewing the most cruel decision, planning to take the obedient and excellent me as a scapegoat, kill the chicken to scare the monkey, and use my 3 years of purgatory to restrain my sister's willfulness. In my previous life, I was ignorant and weak, begging and crying, humble and helpless, and finally fell into the abyss. But this life, I have experienced 3 years of hell, endured thousands of tortures, and carried endless blood and hatred. My heart is completely cold, hard, and ruthless, without a trace of family affection or softness. Since they want to sacrifice the good and indulge the evil. Since they want to use my life to pave the way for my sister's glory. Then I will completely reverse their fate. I will let the wayward sister fall into the correction center purgatory that belongs to me. I will let the biased parents taste the pain of losing everything, the despair of family collapse, and the regret of lifelong wrong choice. This time, the chicken to be slaughtered for warning is no longer me. It is their most precious daughter, Lynn Mann. Hashtag Chapter 1 First Explosion. Reverse the sacrifice. Push the wayward sister into purgatory. The night was quiet, but the living room outside the bedroom was filled with suppressed anger and noisy quarrels. I sat quietly at my desk, my back straight, my eyes calm and cold without any fluctuation. I could clearly hear every word of my parents' conversation outside, and every detail was exactly the same as in my previous life. Man is too disobedient. Skipping school, puppy love, fighting. The school is going to expel her. If this continues, her life will be completely ruined. My mother's voice was anxious and angry, but there was no real hatred for her daughter's mistakes, only worry about her future. My father sighed heavily. She is too spoiled by us. She has a wild temperament and refuses to listen to discipline. We can't beat her or scold her severely for fear of irritating her and making her more rebellious. What should we do then? We can't let her waste her youth like this. She is our eldest daughter. How can she have no future? After a moment of silence, my father's cold and ruthless voice sounded again, the same voice that sent me to hell in my previous life. I have a way. The closed correction center in the west of the city has a strict discipline style. Send someone in to suffer a little. Let Man see the consequences of disobedience, and she will naturally be obedient. My mother was stunned. Send Man in? That place is too hard. I can't bear it. Fool, who said to send Man? My father sneered, his voice extremely selfish and cold. Send Lin Shu. Lin Shu is well-behaved and sensible, has good endurance, and is obedient. Let her go in and stay for a while, suffer some hardships, and warn Man. Let Man know that if she continues to be disobedient, her sister will suffer for her. This way, Man will be restrained and will study hard. My mother immediately agreed without any hesitation, her tone full of relief and indifference to me. This method is good. Lin Shu has always been obedient and will not resist. It's just staying for a few years, and it won't delay anything. As long as Man can be admitted to a good university, everything is worth it. These cold-blooded and selfish words pierce the night air, exactly the same as the start of my purgatory in my previous life. In my previous life, when I heard these words, I was terrified and desperate, rushing out to cry and beg, only to be forcibly tied up and sent to the correction center by them. But now, I just raised the corner of my mouth and evoked a cold and cruel smile. Want to sacrifice me to warn my sister? Dream on. I stood up slowly, opened the bedroom door, and walked out calmly. My parents were still discussing the specific matters of sending me to the correction center, calculating how long to let me stay, how to instruct the instructors to discipline me severely, and how to use my pain to deter Lin Man. Lin Man was sitting on the sofa with her arms crossed, her face arrogant and unrepentant, chewing gum casually, completely ignoring her parents' anger. When she saw me coming out, she rolled her eyes disdainfully, her eyes full of contempt and disdain. In her eyes, I am just a humble tool for her to use at will, a spare tire for her future, and a victim who can be sacrificed at any time. My parents looked at me, their faces instantly turning cold, and their tone was unquestionably commanding. Lin Shu, pack your things tonight. Tomorrow we will send you to the correction center to receive discipline. Let your sister take a good look. What will happen if you are disobedient and skip school? In my previous life, I collapsed and cried bitterly at the sentence. But this life, I just looked at them calmly, my voice clear and cold, without a trace of trembling. Why should I go? My parents were stunned for a moment, obviously not expecting that the always obedient and silent me would dare to question them. My mother frowned and scolded sharply. What nonsense are you talking about? Your sister skipped school and made mistakes. We need to use you as a warning. This is your duty as a younger sister. Duty. I raised my voice slightly, my eyes sharp and cold, sweeping across the 3 cold-blooded people in the living room one by one. What duty? The duty of an obedient child is to be sacrificed for the wrongdoings of others. The duty of a top student is to be sent to purgatory to pave the way for a truant. My words were sonorous and powerful, breaking the family's long-standing distorted rules in an instant. Lin Man's face changed instantly, and she stood up angrily. Lin Shu, how dare you talk to our parents like that? I'm just playing for a few days. What's wrong with me? You are so narrow-minded. I looked at her arrogant and unrepentant face, and the endless hatred accumulated in 3 years of purgatory surged up, but I suppressed it firmly. Now is not the time for a complete break. I want to let them fall into the trap they set for me step by step, and let them taste the most painful retribution. I looked at my parents and said word by word, with a calm and rational tone that made my parents feel strange and flustered. Parents, you are wrong. The so-called killing the chicken to scare the monkey is to punish the wrongdoer to deter the good child, not to sacrifice the good child to indulge the wrongdoer. Sister skips school, falls in love early, violates school rules and family discipline. She is the one who made mistakes. If you really want to warn her and let her reform, you should send her to the correction center to suffer. Only when she experiences the pain herself will she know to repent. Sending an innocent and obedient neither will only make her more arrogant and willful. She will know that no matter what mistakes she makes, someone will sacrifice for her. She will never change, but will become worse and worse. These words were reasonable and well-founded, hitting the key point of my parents' most concerned point, my sister's future. My parents were stunned on the spot, their expressions flickering, and they were obviously shaken. They only cared about whether Lin Man could reform and get into a good university. They never thought about my grievance and pain. I saw their wavering, and continued to strike while the iron was hot, with a calm and gentle tone, completely pretending to be a sensible child who only considers the family overall situation. If you send me there, sister will only feel that she has a backing. She will think that someone will bear the consequences for her mistakes, and she will continue to skip school and fall in love. By then, she will really be expelled, and the loss will be irreversible. But if you send her in for a month or 2 to let her experience discipline and suffering, she will definitely know the horror of making mistakes, completely reform, and study hard to get into a good university. This is the real way to save her. My father's eyes lit up instantly, and he nodded repeatedly, obviously being persuaded by me. He was originally a selfish person who only looked at interests. In his eyes, as long as Lin Man could have a future, anyone's sacrifice was acceptable. Before, he chose to sacrifice me because I was obedient and easy to control. Now I tell him that sacrificing me is useless, and punishing Lin Man is the only effective way. He immediately changed his mind without the slightest hesitation. What the second child said makes sense. It's useless to discipline a good child. Only letting the wrongdoer suffer. Can there be an effect? My mother was still reluctant, but Man has never suffered since she was a child. That place is too hard. If you don't suffer now, you will suffer for a lifetime in the future. My father waved his hand firmly, his tone decisive. Just send Man in. Let her stay for 2 months to receive strict discipline, let her reform completely, and come back to study hard and take the college entrance examination. As soon as this sentence fell, Lin Man's face turned pale instantly. She never thought that the obedient and weak me would dare to refute her parents, and even reverse the whole thing, letting her fall into the trap that originally belonged to me. She panicked completely, rushed forward to pull my mother's clothes, and cried and screamed. Mom, I don't want to go. That correction center is terrible. I will be good. I will study hard. Don't send me there. Her previous arrogance and willfulness disappeared completely, leaving only endless fear and panic. But my father had made up his mind, and for the first time in his life, he was extremely strict with Lin Man. It's too late to regret now. You have made repeated mistakes and refused to repent. You must go in and receive discipline. This is your own fault. I stood aside, watching my sister collapse and cry, watching my parents turn cold to their most precious daughter for the first time, and the corners of my mouth rose with a cold and cruel arc. This is just the beginning. The purgatory I endured for 3 years, the torture I suffered all over my body, the despair I experienced in my heart. From today on, let their precious daughter taste it one by one. Hashtag chapter 2 explosion. Sisters, purgatory start. Self-inflicted torture. The next day, before dawn, Lin Man was tied up by my parents and sent to the closed correction center in the west of the city. She cried and screamed all the way, begging for mercy repeatedly, swearing that she would never skip school or fall in love again, and promising to study hard. But my parents were determined. For the first time, they ignored her crying and begging and personally sent her into the iron gate of purgatory. In their opinion, this is a necessary discipline for their daughter's future, a short-term suffering in exchange for a lifelong bright future. They naively thought that after staying for 2 months, Lin Man would completely reform, become obedient and sensible, and study hard to be admitted to a prestigious university. Only I know. Once you enter that correction center, you can't get out if you don't suffer enough torture. The instructors there are brutal and greedy. They only recognize the instructions of their superiors and never have any mercy. In my previous life, my parents instructed them to discipline me severely, so I suffered endless torture. This life, I will quietly add fuel to the fire. Let them discipline Lin Man 10 times more severely than they discipline me. On the day Lin Man entered the center, I took the initiative to help my parents sort out the contact information of the center's person in charge and pretended to be sensible and reminded. Dad, Mom, sister has a wild temperament and is very rebellious. Ordinary discipline can't make her repent at all. You must tell the instructors to discipline her strictly, not to spoil her, not to give her any preferential treatment, and let her suffer enough hardships so that she can completely correct her mistakes. My parents agreed without hesitation, thinking that I was thinking about my sister's future. They immediately called the instructor in charge and gave repeated instructions. Discipline strictly, no mercy, let her suffer enough pain, must let her reform completely. These words became the deadly talisman that pushed Lin Man into endless purgatory. In the correction center, Lin Man, who had been spoiled since childhood and had never suffered any hardship, completely collapsed in the first day. She was used to being arrogant and willful outside, but in the center, any willfulness would be severely punished. She refused to obey the arrangement on the first day, quarreled with the instructor, and was directly locked in a dark solitary cell for 24 hours without food or water. She couldn't stand the hardship, cried and shouted to go out, and was severely beaten with an iron ruler on the palm by the instructor. The pain of bone fracture made her scream and cry bitterly, completely losing all her previous arrogance. What's more cruel is that because my parents emphasized strict discipline many times, the instructors took it as an order to torture her severely. They forced her to stand in the military posture for 10 hours a day, beat her for no reason when she was tired, and forced her to take sedative and hormone drugs indiscriminately like they did to me in my previous life. Lin Man's body was delicate, and she had never endured any pain. In just 10 days, she was tortured until she was haggard and thin, with scars all over her body, and her spirit was on the verge of collapse. She kept writing help letters, crying and begging my parents to pick her up, promising to be obedient and study hard. But every time my parents received the letter, they only felt that the discipline was effective and thought that she was finally going to reform. They not only refused to pick her up, but also called the instructor to praise the strict discipline and asked to continue to increase the intensity so that she could completely get rid of her bad temper. I watched all this calmly from the sidelines, without a trace of pity in my heart. Every scar on Lin Man's body is the sin she committed in her previous life. Every bit of pain she endures is the retribution for the 3 years of purgatory she made me suffer. When my parents sighed and said that their daughter was suffering but it was for her own good, I would echo softly and pretend to be sensible. Yes, only after suffering hardships can sister know how to cherish. When she comes out, she will definitely study hard and be obedient. My parents were more and more satisfied with me, thinking that I was sensible, obedient, and considerate, and the more they looked at me, the more pleasing I became. They completely forgot that 3 years ago, they were going to send such an excellent and sensible me to purgatory. While Lin Man was suffering in purgatory, I started my peak academic counterattack. With the memory of my previous life and the mature and stable mentality after experiencing purgatory, my learning efficiency is far beyond ordinary people. I ranked first in every monthly exam, crushing all students in the grade, and becoming the undisputed top academic god in the school. The teachers praised me repeatedly, the classmates admired me, and the school leaders took me as a key training object for the National College entrance examination. My reputation in the school is getting higher and higher, and I have completely become the most dazzling existence in the grade. In contrast, Lin Man's life in the correction center is getting worse and worse. After 2 months of strict discipline, she not only did not reform, but became more distorted and extreme. The endless beating and drug torture made her physically and mentally exhausted, and her personality became paranoid and violent. She began to hate my parents' ruthlessness, hate the world's injustice, and hate me who was safe and sound outside and shining brightly. She thought that all her suffering was caused by me. She thought that I deliberately framed her and let her enter the purgatory. She began to curse me crazily in the center and vowed to take revenge on me after she went out. I knew all her hatred and resentment clearly, but I didn't care at all. The deeper her hatred is, the more extreme her personality is, the more miserable her final ending will be. This is the best retribution for her. Hashtag Chapter 3 Third Explosion. Parents regret seed. Full family relationship cracking. Half a year passed in a flash. I have firmly occupied the first place in the city's mock examination for 3 consecutive times, and my name is famous in the entire city's education circle. The school took the initiative to give me full scholarship, key tutoring resources, and promised to recommend me to the top national university once I maintain my grades. I have completely become the pride of the teachers, the benchmark of the students, and the most promising student in the entire city. My parents gradually felt proud of me. Every time they went out to socialize, they would take the initiative to mention my grades and gain countless envious looks from others. In the past, they only had Lin Man in their eyes and ignored all my excellence. But now, they finally realized that their most excellent child is the one they once wanted to sacrifice cruelly. And their most beloved daughter, Lin Man, after half a year of correction center torture, not only did not improve, but completely collapsed. The center called my parents many times, saying that Lin Man had extreme emotional disorders, often cried and made trouble, attacked others, refused to eat and sleep, and had serious mental problems. The instructor said frankly that Lin Man's personality has been completely distorted, and she can no longer return to normal study and life. My parents were flustered for the first time, and they finally realized that their so-called discipline had completely ruined their daughter. They rushed to the correction center to visit Lin Man for the first time in half a year. When they saw Lin Man, they were completely stunned on the spot. The glamorous, arrogant, and beautiful eldest daughter in their memory has completely disappeared. In front of them was a thin, haggard, scarred girl with sunken eye sockets, dull eyes, and a crazy and distorted expression. As soon as she saw my parents, Lin Man rushed over like a madman, grabbing their clothes and screaming hysterically. "Why did you send me here? Why did you torture me? You don't love me at all. You only love Lin Shu. You want me to die here." Her voice was hoarse and sharp, like a wounded beast, full of hatred and despair. My mother was scared to cry on the spot, holding Lin Man and crying bitterly, full of guilt and regret. Man, it's Mom's fault. Mom shouldn't have sent you here. Don't be afraid. Mom will take you home now." My father's eyes were red, and he was full of endless regret and self-blame. They finally realized that their wrong decision had completely destroyed their daughter's youth and personality. They took Lin Man home in a panic, trying to make up for her with all kinds of delicacies and luxuries, wanting to heal her trauma. But the damage has been done, and there's no way to recover. Lin Man's personality has been completely distorted by half a year of purgatory torture. She is irritable, violent, suspicious, and paranoid. She loses her temper at every turn, smashes things at home, beats and scolds her parents, and curses the whole family. What's more terrifying is that all her hatred is concentrated on me. As long as she sees me studying quietly, seeing me being praised by my parents, seeing me shining brightly, she will go crazy with jealousy and hatred. She rushed to my room many times, smashed my textbooks and stationery, and even tried to push me downstairs and hurt me. "It's all your fault. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have suffered so much. You stole my parents' love, stole my future. I will kill you." Every time she attacks me crazily, I will pretend to be scared and helpless, with red eyes and a grieved face, and silently bear all her violence. I don't resist, don't quarrel, just hide silently, look at my parents with teary eyes, and let them see their precious daughter's ferocious and ugly true face completely. My parents watched Lin Man smash the house into a mess, watched her attack me crazily and curse viciously, and their hearts became colder and colder. The more they spoil and make up for her, the more arrogant and violent she becomes. On the contrary, I have always been well-behaved, sensible, quiet, and excellent, never making trouble, never complaining, and silently maintaining excellent grades. The contrast between the two sisters is extremely sharp and obvious. The seed of regret in my parents' hearts began to take root and germinate crazily. They finally began to reflect on their original mistake. They finally understood how cruel and absurd it was to want to sacrifice an excellent child to warn a wrong child. If they had not been biased and selfish at the beginning, if they had sent the wrong Lin Man to discipline instead of wanting to sacrifice me, their eldest daughter would not be ruined, and their younger daughter would not have suffered endless grievances. But it's too late. Everything is irreversible. Hashtag Chapter 4 Fourth Explosion. Academic peak crushing. Sisters complete abandonment. Time flies, and the college entrance examination is approaching. I have maintained the first grade in the city for a long time, and I am firmly locked in the admission quota of the top national university. All teachers and students know that I will definitely become the city's college entrance examination champion and enter the most prestigious university in the country. My parents' attitude towards me has completely reversed. They no longer ignore me, no longer favor Lin Man blindly. They began to take the initiative to care about my study and life, try their best to satisfy all my needs, and take the initiative to make up for the previous years of grievance and neglect. They are extremely gentle and indulgent to me, for fear that I will be disappointed and leave this family. But for Lin Man, they have completely fallen into despair and abandonment. After returning home, Lin Man was unable to adapt to school life at all. Her mental state was extremely unstable, she was irritable and violent, and she often quarreled and fought with teachers and classmates. Her grades fell to the bottom of the grade again, and she even couldn't finish the basic high school courses. The school issued a final expulsion notice, informing my parents that Lin Man's state is not suitable for continuing to study in school, and she'll be expelled soon. My parents tried their best to find relationships and spend money to keep her in school, but Lin Man was completely ungrateful. She still skips school every day, surfs the internet, mixes with social teenagers, and even takes her puppy love boyfriend home to make trouble. Every time my parents discipline her a little, she will threaten to commit suicide, run away from home, or hurt me. The whole family is in constant chaos and quarrels because of her. My parents are exhausted physically and mentally, and their love and guilt for her have been completely consumed by her repeated nonsense and violence. They finally completely abandoned this daughter. On the eve of the college entrance examination, Lin Man made the most foolish mistake of her life. In order to vent her hatred for me, she secretly sneaked into my room in the middle of the night, tore up all my review materials and mock examination papers, and poured water on my review notes that I had sorted out for 3 years. She stood in the messy room, laughing crazily and ferociously. I can't get into a good university, and you don't want to either. I'll ruin everything of yours. When I woke up and saw the messy study materials, I didn't get angry or collapse. I just stood quietly at the door, looking at her crazy and distorted appearance, with a cold and calm expression. My parents were awakened by the movement. When they saw the completely destroyed review materials and Lin Man's crazy appearance, they completely broke out. This is my 3 years of hard work, my future and hope. Lin Man's nonsense has completely touched their bottom line. My father slapped Lin Man hard for the first time in his life, his face full of anger and despair. You are a devil. We have tolerated you again and again, but you are getting more and more excessive. You don't deserve to be our daughter at all. My mother cried bitterly, completely disappointed. We regret it. We really regret it. We shouldn't have spoiled you since childhood. Shouldn't have sacrificed our good younger daughter for you. You are a white-eyed wolf who doesn't know gratitude. These words completely broke Lin Man's last extravagant hope. She never thought that her parents, who had loved her for more than 10 years, would slap her and regret loving her. She collapsed on the ground, crying and roaring hysterically, but no one felt pity for her anymore. I looked at the messy desktop, then at the collapsed Lin Man and my remorseful parents, and said softly and indifferently, "It's okay, I can remember all the knowledge points. These things can't affect my college entrance examination results." My calm and magnanimous appearance set off Lin Man's narrow-minded and viciousness even more. My parents' hearts were filled with endless guilt and regret. They finally understood completely that their decades of partiality was the most ridiculous and wrong thing in their life. Hashtag Chapter 5 Fifth Explosion. College Entrance Examination Counterattack. Peak glory belongs to me. The college entrance examination came as scheduled. With my solid foundation and super memory, I finished all the exam questions easily and smoothly. Every question is familiar and simple to me, and I can get full marks almost effortlessly. After the exam, I faced the interview and assessment of the top national university with ease and got the highest evaluation from the admissions team. On the day the results were released, the whole city was shocked. I scored the highest score in the city's college entrance examination, ranking among the top 10 in the country, and successfully got the admission letter from the most prestigious top university in China. The school hung up my huge poster. The Education Bureau commended me specially, and countless media came to interview me. I became the youngest and most dazzling college entrance examination champion in the city in recent years, and my future is bright and boundless. In contrast, Lin Man's results are appalling. She didn't even pass the college entrance examination qualification line, with a total score less than 1/3 of mine. She completely lost the chance to go to college, and even couldn't enter an ordinary junior college. The sister, who was originally protected by her parents to take the college entrance examination and enjoy glory, has completely become a useless waste with no future. The younger sister, who was once cruelly sacrificed by her parents and destined for purgatory, has become the most dazzling pride of the whole city. The fate dislocation arranged by the biased parents was completely reversed by me. On the day I received the admission letter, my parents held the red and gold admission letter, crying and trembling, full of endless regret and joy. They looked at me with red eyes and knelt down to me in front of the whole family relatives, full of remorse. "Wan, it's our fault. We were blind and biased, wronged you, sacrificed you, and made you suffer so many grievances. Can you forgive us?" All relatives were shocked and sighed repeatedly. Everyone saw clearly the absurdity and cruelty of this family's partiality. I stood in the center of the crowd, holding my admission letter calmly, with no joy or fluctuation in my heart. Forgive? How can I forgive the 3 years of purgatory torture in my previous life, the disabled body, the ruined youth, and the endless humiliation and despair? Their belated repentance and apology are cheap and ridiculous. I just looked at them indifferently, my voice calm and cold, without a trace of warmth. I don't need your forgiveness. From the moment you planned to sacrifice me, our family affection has been broken. All my glory is earned by myself, not given by the family. All your regrets are your own retribution and have nothing to do with me. My parents' faces turned pale instantly, and they collapsed on the ground in despair, crying bitterly. They finally completely lost the excellent and sensible younger daughter who they once ignored and sacrificed. Hashtag Chapter 6 Sixth Explosion. Full family cremation. Ultimate end of all sins. After I entered the top university, I completely broke off all ties with the Lin family. I deleted all their contact information, never went home, never accepted their compensation and apology, and completely cut off all family affection. With my excellent academic performance, I won national scholarships every year, participated in top scientific research projects, and accumulated contacts and resources belonging to my own peak life. My life is getting better and better, shining brightly, and moving towards a higher and farther future step by step. And the Lin family completely fell into the abyss of doom, falling apart completely. After failing the college entrance examination, Lin Man completely gave up on herself. She was idle all day long, mixed with social gangsters, addicted to online games and gambling, and owed a large amount of usury outside. The usury collectors came to the door repeatedly to make trouble, smashing the house and threatening the whole family. My parents spent all their savings to pay off her debts, but she not only did not repent, but also borrowed more recklessly. Her personality became more and more violent and extreme. She often quarreled and fought with her parents, and even stole the family.